Yes.
Same-sex parents? That's kind of weird.
No, I don't.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't.
I do not.
If we follow what the scripture says, a marriage should be between a man and a woman. That's how marriage was first established, and that's what our belief as Jehovah's Witnesses is.
I don't think there's any issues. Yeah, no issue. I don't think there will be any problems.
I don't see any, honestly.
If anything, like social issues because people, religious reasons.
Biological children?
Maybe if you have two guy parents, like how are you gonna tell the girl about her menstrual cycle if you've never experienced it? But besides that, I think they got everything else covered.
If you all were the generation ahead of this generation, I think there'd be fewer problems, but I still think there's gender norms that folks are still going to be facing.
Maybe if it's two gay guys, they'll have a way better life because their parents will be making so much money.
If you take the same sex out of it, I just think, are there benefits that come with having parents?
Yeah, I think there's some knowledge that the kid would get.
Probably have like a different perspective on some shit, than people raised with like a man and a woman.
Right.
You're taught diversity, and you're taught that openness, you're taught that it's okay to have another same-sex partner, and I'm pretty sure they don't discriminate about opposite-sex partners, and it's just very openness and gives you opportunity to learn different ways of living, like the modern way.
Not at all, no.
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't think so, because there's gay kids that are raised by straight parents, and then there's straight kids that are raised by gay parents. It just depends what you come out as and what's your preference. So there shouldn't be any problems. Yeah.
I think that's irrelevant. I feel like if they're gay, they're gonna be gay. If they're straight, they're gonna be straight.
Yeah.
I think as long as they're taught, as long as they see that in the world, it's most common, they're gonna see that. And I think as long as they're taught about that, then they shouldn't.
I feel like they do feel like they're missing something, but then you learn to adapt to it because it's all you know. And it's at times, sure, you are going to miss having another gender parent because that's like the norm, but I think you adapt and you learn how to live with the differences. Yeah.
I don't think there's any problem at all, unless they're living in a situation where they're locked in a basement somewhere, when they never get out. There's always other people to use as role models. Trans people have other role models. Gay and lesbian people have other role models. Women in science have other role models. All of us that are outside the quote-unquote norm, which is fake, have other role models. We can find them. I don't think there's any problem at all.
Not being able to relate to them, like their problems, but there's sons getting raised by single moms, and I'd rather someone be in a household with two same-sex parents than someone in a household with one parent.
People not being accepting of it, I guess.
Same perspective.
Yeah.
The hatred against our society. I think, even though the United States is all legalized right now, there's still generations that don't approve of it. And I think that the same-sex parents could have a problem with the older generations not accepting them for who they are.
There isn't really any problems unless some kids have those closed-minded parents and they're just don't talk to that kid because he has two moms and two daddies. No, that's the only problem I could think of is the kids being
talked about in school, but I mean, kids they don't care nowadays.
Do you personally know anyone who is or has same-sex parents?
Yes.
We know quite a few people that have same-sex parents. Question number 2. Do you think that children with same-sex parents have a different sexual orientation than a child with opposite-sex parents?
No.
No, every child is different and unique, and they're born the way they're born, just like we were.
I think it just makes them more comfortable if they are to come out than it would if they had opposite sex parents.
And we both came from heterosexual parents.
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with it.
None.
Number 3. What are some issues you think that might arise with having same-sex parents? Biased, bigoted people with strong opinions about biblical stuff that they decipher themselves, or how do you say?
Opinionated
people.
Bullies at school for the children. I think it's more for the children. They and as parents too, you feel like you're being talked about and you're being looked at.
Yeah, exactly. What problems do you think same-sex parents may have socially in our society? Well, like we said.
And it's difficult to relate to, like, if you're at a PTA meeting with another set of parents. They may look at you a little weird, and you may feel as a couple weird, where you're going to act different. Like, we act different when we're in front of school functions. We don't act like we're a couple. We're just kind of like, we are what we are because we don't want people to say anything.
Well, and because we're there for the kids. We're not there for us. We're there for the kids. So, the next question. Do you think there are any benefits that come with having same-sex parents? I think there is.
There's understanding.
Yeah, they're more
open-minded.
Yeah, open-minded, in tune with people's opinions, whether it be liking someone of the same sex, or liking someone of a different race, or anything.
More understanding and compassionate, I think, because of what you have to go through being in a same-sex relationship and having to be aware of everything. In a same-sex relationship and having to be aware of everything.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Do you think that children with same-sex parents have a problem identifying to the sex that is missing in their household? No. In our situation, their father is still in their lives, and it's 50-50 custody, and so they see that opposite sex parent.
But
also, my brothers. There's other men in the family that...
But with their friends, they're still opposite sex people in their lives. It just may not be a dad, or it may not be a mom. It may be an aunt or an uncle or a grandma or a grandpa or a godmother. There tends to be a lot of like godparents and friends in the homosexual world where they kind of take part in raising the kids as well.
Right. What? The ability to raise a child or give birth to one?
Raise a child. Anyone can give birth. Well, not anyone, but it doesn't take a heart to give birth to a child.
Right. It's tough to raise a child. That's why some people give them up. So they gave birth to them. It doesn't make them the mom. It's the person who actually raises them and
loves them.
So in our case, she has loved the kids that I birthed for 12 years now, almost 13, 12 years. So that's a mom. That's a mom that interacts. We have other situations where we know people that are step-parents in heterosexual relationships, and they're not very good to those kids. So...
And we know other people that give birth and then are very good parents.
Right.
And we know, what is it, Dina and Rachel?
Yeah.
They have like thousands of friends, and their kids are so great.
Yeah, and very well-rounded.
Yeah.
Very well-rounded.
And one gave birth and one didn't.
Yeah. That's the end of this interview. Thank you.